Y'all remember at the end of the very first Harry Potter book where Harry's in the hospital wing and Dumbledore's visiting and he takes a single Bertie Bott's every flavor bean and he eats it and he's like, alas, earwax. And listen, I know Dumbledore has lived a very long and full life and has had many different journeys and experiences along the way. I just want to know exactly what experience Dumbledore had that led him to understand so quickly and completely to know exactly what earwax tastes like. Happy Christmas all, I'm Harry, this is Harry Potter Build Stuff, and I know what you're thinking. Didn't we just talk extensively about the new LEGO Harry Potter sets, and why are we doing so once again? Well, I have a couple of admissions to make for you here today. One, I'm not Harry Potter, I'm Josh. This is Josh Build Stuff. And two, I said I wasn't going to buy more Harry Potter stuff, and then I did. Now listen, I only bought more Harry Potter stuff for good reason, because it was a free gift with purchase. I would have missed out on it before, and I am a very weak man, and I am very susceptible to my collectible nature. This is the little Hogwarts Gryffindor Dorm set. It was free at the end of October if you spent $100 on LEGO Harry Potter stuff, and you might have guessed it, I spent $100 on LEGO Harry Potter stuff. This little set, it's basic, it's modular. Again, it fits with the big Hogwarts. It comes with a young Harry, a young Ron, and a very small dorm room setting. It also has a 16 by 16 plate on which you can display those darn collectible wizard tiles, which they're still getting me to buy more Harry Potter stuff, and so I still need a bunch more of those. We'll talk more about this set in a second, but first I want to tell you this weird, gross anecdote. Every night as I'm falling asleep, I listen to audiobooks. I've done it for years and years. I have like Gen 1 AirPods that I wear while I'm falling asleep. I usually listen to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'll occasionally jump to other Jules Verne classic novels, but on rare occasion when I'm in the mood, I will listen to the Harry Potter audiobooks as well. And I've just recently finished the very first Harry Potter book, hence my weird Dumbledore earwax anecdote from earlier. Now here's a funny little bit of serendipity. I had just finished Harry Potter book 1, and the next day I was wearing my AirPods around the house or something. I leaned down and my right AirPod fell out of my ear into the sink, which was full of water. I know what you're thinking. Oh no, that AirPod's ruined. But have no fear, my right AirPod hasn't worked in years. That's right, I go to bed every night with only my left AirPod working. I still put the right AirPod in just for the heck of it. Let's go a layer deeper into this anecdote. Why do you have AirPods when the right one doesn't work? Well, why don't you just order a new right AirPod? I did. I ordered new ones, and then I was wearing them and one fell out of my ear, and then I ran over it in my van. It was in the parking lot of my kids' preschool, and I know I ran over it because I went back to their preschool the next day. Well, it was 2 days later. They only go to school Tuesday and Thursday right now, and I went back and I was like, there it is, my crushed AirPod on the floor. I was so disheartened by this that I was like, I don't need a right AirPod. I'm not going to order another one. And then, as serendipity would have it, I found a right AirPod in the mud out front of my house. I know it didn't belong to me, but it was technically on my property. It was covered in mud. It was kind of dirty. I went inside, I brushed it off, I cleaned it off, I synced it to my left AirPod, and lo and behold, I now had 2 working AirPods. And wouldn't you believe it, a couple days later, the right AirPod stopped working again. And to this day, that is still the right AirPod that I use. It does not work, and it fell in the sink, and it's the whole thing. It fell into the sink, and then I took it out, and I was like, oh, I got to clean this out. And I dried it off, and then I went to scrape out the inside bit of it. And man, if you had seen what was inside the right AirPod, which clearly, again, it doesn't work, but still the accumulation that had accumulated inside that AirPod, I would not wish that on my worst enemy, for them to have to see, experience, and smell that right AirPod. And here's a pro tip for you. Don't clean out your right AirPod with your electric toothbrush, because then you just have a bigger problem than that which you started with. And with that gross ending to that gross anecdote, let's talk about the build for this set. The build for this set was silly, short, and a little boring. It took me all of about 20 seconds, as you can see here. It's built in the same general modularity style as all of the Hogwarts sets have been this year. There's otherwise nothing special or exciting about the build whatsoever. Here's the ironic thing. Before I give you my complete thoughts on this little set and like this entire Harry Potter wave, which we've talked about at length already, the ironic thing is that my 4-year-old walked into my office after I had built this set. He looked at it and he was like, wow, what a cool new set, look at that! And he was so excited just at the idea of something cool, and I realized how just like tainted and bitter I have become. But This set, which was free, would be great if it was actually free. But this set was free with an asterisk. That's right, this was a gift with purchase. If you spent $100 at the LEGO store on LEGO Harry Potter stuff between like the last week in October, I don't think it's still available. And so this review is kind of pointless because you can't get your hands on this if you haven't already. That exclusivity kind of makes it a little more worth it to me. But like as a LEGO set, if you just look at this set by itself and you go, is that a $100 set? No, absolutely not. If you go, is that a free set? Would you take that for free? Sure, absolutely. That's kind of a weird subjectivity that goes along with these gifts with purchases. And like the more money that you had to spend on a set, the more worth it kind of seems to you, right? Who would have thought that like the value of a set to someone would be directly linked to the price that they paid for that set? To get this set, I bought a couple of obscure things. A couple of them are, I'm almost ashamed to say, I was just kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel to look for new LEGO Harry Potter stuff, and I had BRICKSETs that I hadn't yet bought. That's because I had already purchased all of the LEGO Harry Potter sets that I was interested in for this entire wave, for this entire year, besides like the big UCS Hedwig set that's around right now that I would like, but I would not like to pay hefty prices for that. Otherwise, it was very hard to find $100 worth of LEGO Harry Potter stuff, some of which was actually in stock on LEGO's website. That's a whole different story. So I bought those two BRICKSET sets. I also bought the Wizard chess set, which I'm actually excited for, and I actually was eyeing that set this entire season, and I just hadn't found a good time to buy it. That one also comes with golden minifigures and these darn little wizard tiles. Let's talk about those, because that's kind of the entire point of this set. It's also a place to display a part of those collectible LEGO wizard tiles, because there's a little, like I said, 16 by 16 plate on the back there that you can pull out, and it gives you a place to display all 16 of those tiles, assuming you have had better luck than I have and have actually found all 16 of those tiles. I have 20 of these tiles total, which is actually not a small number considering you don't get a ton of them in all of the new LEGO Harry Potter sets. That is not counting the tiles that I will get in the chess set, which is on back order, lo and behold. But I have 20 of them total, and I have 11 unique tiles, which I don't think is great odds, so I'm going to have to buy some of these on the aftermarket because I'm not going to go through and buy repeats of these same sets. But we will talk about buying repeats of these same sets in a second, repeats of these same sets in a second. I like the fact that you can display them on this little back plate because it kind of gives me more reason. It kind of almost justifies my bad buying habits as of late. It's like, hey, look at all the bad decisions I've made over the last couple of months in this little $100 set. But speaking of the set, outside of this collection aspect, as a set itself, very boring. Just literally a little square cubicle box with a couple of bunk beds and like one little treasure chest. Otherwise, nothing exciting going on here. We kind of had this problem with the other modular Harry Potter sets from this same wave that I know these sets have some redeeming qualities all together when you put them together, but by themselves they can be underwhelming. I understand that. Again, this set was free. What am I going to do? Complain about a free set? Clearly, yes. I am going to complain about a free set. But you know what these sets are great for? Mocking. Nanny nanny boo boo, this GWP is poo poo. Not that kind of mocking. LEGO mocking, as in my own creation, as in make something yourself that will fit in with this same theme. And LEGO has done mockers a very great service here because they've given you general dimensions and guidelines to follow to make these sets fit in with the larger Hogwarts models. And so I've seen plenty of cool examples of other people building cool things that fit in with that big Hogwarts, and they're doing a great job. A lot of times it takes like buying multiple versions of the same Harry Potter sets. I can totally support that. I am not that. I mean, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but I've got a lot of other LEGO I need to build and buy at the same time, so I can't justify buying the same sets multiple times. So maybe it's not so much mocking. In my case, it's more someone else's creation or sexing. Not like that. Other people I've already seen are doing very cool things with these LEGO Harry Potter sets. They're making other dorm rooms like Slytherin and like the Ravenclaw dorm and like the other house's dorm. No need to point them out specifically. A lot of people are doing very cool things, so check them out. But I'm not doing that. I bought this set because I wanted it, because I knew I would miss out on it, because it is a unique exclusive gift with purchase, and apparently that's all it takes for me to, if you're like, hey, you need to find a way to spend $100 more on LEGO Harry Potter stuff, And so I did just that. All this is starting to sound a little negative. That's not my intention, I assure you. Obviously, I made the decisions ahead of time to buy this set. I took actions. I bought dang brickheads, for goodness sake, so that I could get this set. So clearly I was of right and conscious personal mind, and I knew what I was doing when I bought this set. I'm not having buyer's remorse, and saying this out loud to you is not proof that I am having buyer's remorse. I'm very glad I have this set. I'm excited to add this to the bigger Hogwarts castle, and then of course throw all that in the storage unit, which just, it sounds bitter and like, I don't know, kind of entitled at this point, and I don't mean for it to come across that way. It's just also weird to do a review, quote unquote, of a set which is not available to anyone at this point. So all I'm really getting at here is to try to, I don't know, I guess prove the point, ask the question, prove my own hypocrisy by saying, oh, I'm not buying more Harry Potter set, and then immediately going out and buying more Harry Potter sets. Really, it's an interesting thought and discussion to look at a set like this and go, is that worth $100? And say, no, absolutely not. Is that worth $3? Yes, absolutely. And then somewhere in the middle is this gray gift with purchase area, which I find myself in more often than I'd like to admit. So do let me know your thoughts on this whole earwax issue and on this whole gift with purchase issue. Do you think this is a decent gift with purchase? Is this one like really just geared towards the niche Harry Potter die-hard collectors, and does that make me one of those people? And is that a category of people that I'm okay being placed into? Maybe that's not a question that you can answer. I will answer that one myself, but let me know what you think about this little set, and let me know what you think about this video in the comments down below. And while you're down there in the comments, be sure to head on a little higher up to that description, and then a little higher up from there, and hit that thumbs up button. Look at that. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. And it's about now that I'm wishing I hadn't used my good Hogwarts house puns when I was like, I'll slither into that Gryffindor on my way out of the last video, and now I'm just like, I guess I'll huffle and puffle my way into like the Three Little Pigs house, and I'm trying to Ravenclaw my way out of this punny hole that I've found myself into in some feeble attempt to squeeze one last bit of juice to create the elixir of life using the Sorcerer's Stone. No, the Philosopher's Stone, for those of you in the UK. I do appreciate your viewership. Clearly, this has gone nowhere, and so clearly, I'm going to go somewhere other than here. See you next time. Why did you tell a long story about earwax? Because I don't care about this set.